Hello, beautifuls. This is Mana Reads. You know me, obviously, because you're on my channel. Today, I have a very special guest. I've been wanting him for a bit of time since I've seen his reaction videos. I have Reactor Javi here today. Woo!
Hello, hello.
um, he is a very popular reactor on YouTube. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, I would definitely check that out. He reacts to everything. He reacts to series. He reacts to like CP dates. So yeah, so go ahead
Everything.
and check him out if you haven't already done so. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, Javi.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Javi. Like Mana said, I have a YouTube channel where I do reactions to BL. I react to pretty much everything. Mostly BL, and some music and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's great to be here.
What's your favorite genre of music? Like, what do you react to from music?
Oh, well, mostly I react to a lot of Filipino music,
Oh, okay.
because of my audience, and SB19, which I really love. Um, but like in my own time, I'm like just a pop guy, just a regular pop guy. I love
Mm.
listening to the trashiest pop music. You know.
What's the trashiest pop song you're currently listening to right now?
Oh, let me check. Actually, I it's one of those things. It's one of those things where like I don't know if you do this or like, but I listen to like the same songs for like a whole 2 years, and then you know, I
Oh,
bring in I bring in new ones every once in a while. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so embarrassing. Let me see. Ooh,
don't be embarrassed.
let me see. I'm trying to find. Oh, you know which one I've been listening to a lot lately? And I guess it's kind of like
Mm.
pop punk, but "Things I'll Never Say" by Avril Lavigne.
Oh,
I
okay.
I love that song. Recently, I don't know what it is, but it's been on a loop.
Okay. That's something
Hmm.
interesting I didn't know about you. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, if people aren't aware of Javi and they haven't, watch his channel, which you should because he's hilarious. But you're hilarious, by the way.
Thank you. Oh my
How did
gosh.
you get started on doing reactions? Like, how did that happen for you?
It was during the pandemic. Well, I guess I should preface this by saying that I did have a different channel before this one, um, that I started. I think it was in 2015. Um, and it was actually mostly in Spanish. I was reacting to a lot of Spanish artists, and I was speaking Spanish in my reaction. So it was like for a completely different audience. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and at one point, it kind of drifted off. It wasn't really doing well. I wasn't excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the pandemic happened. And you know how it is. The pandemic kind of put us through it. So I discovered BL actually through the pandemic because I didn't know what BL was
Okay.
at all. And I think it was like uh, January of 2020. So it was kind of like before the pandemic, right before the pandemic, that I discovered BL. Um, and then the pandemic happened, and I started watching some reactions to some of the BLs. The first BL that I ever discovered was Until We Meet Again. And
Mm.
I fell in love. That was like, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I didn't know that there was like a whole industry, that was like showing these stories, because something that I always craved was seeing kind of like, you know, gay storylines and stuff like that. And I could never find, we had a few here in the
Mm-hmm.
West, but it was like
Right.
tiring to try to see always the same stuff, and it
Yeah.
wasn't very varied. So when I discovered this industry, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many BLs out there. And then I actually, throughout the pandemic, the early months of it, I binge watched a ton of them with my mom. Like,
Oh yeah.
so many of them. And then it was around, I think it was around July, Game Boys was airing,
Mm-hmm.
and I fell in love with it, and I just really wanted to kind of be a part of that conversation. And I decided to start my channel, and I think my first video though was Hello Stranger, because that's the one that aired that one
Yeah.
day that I posted. But then so I started with Hello Stranger and Game Boys and stuff like that, and then kind of went from there. So yeah, it was mostly the pandemic, wanting to get into the conversation, and yeah, and I started from there.
Okay, okay. So you mentioned that you were watching BLs with your mom, and I know your mom has come onto your channel and like watched BL with you. How important was that for you to have that kind of support and just her, watching them with you? And she was hilarious. I remember I saw
Yeah.
one of her videos. And I was just like, and I mean, low key, I was a little jealous because like for a lot of people and for a lot of queer people, I think and especially in the Latino X community, it's
Hmm.
not always possible to have support in
Yeah.
within your own family. So
Yeah.
I was like really like impressed, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. So how
Yeah.
did that happen? Like, how did she just decide like, oh, I'm gonna be on your channel, mijo?
It was, I honestly, pretty much that's how it went. But no, it was a journey, like you said. It's very rare to see that, especially in, the Latino community. But I initially, it wasn't great. Like when I came out to her when I was 18, so 7 years ago. At this point, I'm 25 now. um and it wasn't great, honestly. She took it really hard. Like, she just wasn't, it wasn't one of those situations, when people say, the mother always knows. um for her, it was like a shock. Like, she didn't think at all. um so it was a big deal. But then throughout the years, I kind of took it upon myself to start kind of educating her a little bit, and getting in, like, easing her into seeing different things and learning different things. And so I think first we started watching Glee together. That was the first sort of, you know LGBT content that she
Yeah,
consumed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um and she really loved it. She really enjoyed it. And so after that, slowly we started watching other things. And and then by the time the pandemic came around, like I said, and I found BL, she was much more understanding and stuff like that. And I feel like literally the BL boom that we consumed those first few months, I feel like really completely changed her outlook into things like that. You know what I mean? And it kind of helped her a lot. Like, she's obsessed with, like, mule golf, and I'm like, let's not talk about it. Actually, let's not talk about it.
Right, right,
But
right,
anyway, um, yeah. So it was kind of that process of, like, slowly easing her into getting her educated throughout the years, and then watching things together. And then she fell in love with BL. And so at one point she was like, "Can I join you for some reactions?" Um, and I was like, "Okay, sure." And I think the first thing we did, ooh, no, I don't know. It's either it's either Game Boys, some of the later episodes, or Still Together, because I know we did Still
Mm.
Together. That was the first big thing that we did together on my channel. Um, so it was one of those, because she also is obsessed with Bright When. So, um, you know,
I'm not gonna. We're not gonna.
no, moving on. But so yeah, that's how it happened. It just kind of blossomed from there, and then we kept watching a few things together. It's tricky because it's always weird to choose what to watch with her. Um, we debated on whether we should watch Kin Porsche together, and
Oh.
I was like, because to be honest, she and I have the type of relationship where we really don't care. Like,
Mhm.
we watch it privately, so we watch it together after I react to it. But, like, I feel like it would be so awkward to watch it together on
Yeah,
camera.
yeah, yeah. Especially after episode 4, right?
Oh my
Oh my
gosh,
god.
can you? I mean, we watched it, like, afterwards, and this was me in the couch. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, like I don't think like most people that are kind of like outside like the Latino community, or just like, we have come from like a kind of like conservative like background, like you don't talk about that stuff with your parents, and they
Exactly.
definitely don't let you watch it, when you're growing up.
I'm
And
saying,
so
like,
like, yeah, and so like for you to like, for even for me, right, when I watch like things that even are just like normal like hetero like things, and
hmm
I'm like, and there's like a sex scene, I'm just like
yeah,
like,
so awkward. It's like, ugh.
it's so
Anyway, I'm
awkward.
gonna
I
pretend you're
know,
not sitting next to me.
right? Right? Because it's so awkward. Like
It's
I
so
just don't.
weird. It's so
But
weird.
it's, I mean, but it's still cool that that you get to have that interaction.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, that's
yeah.
how it happened. And then for Kin Porsche, I was like, you know what? Where I'm gonna do it by myself. She's still trying to convince me though to get her to guest star in an episode, and I was like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I would really like to see that. Actually, I would really love
We'll
to see your
see.
mom react to Ken Ford.
It'll be interesting.
Oh my god, totally. All right, so actually, going, I know that you have been reacting to Ken Porch. Like, how do you, like, just for people who like don't know, like, how do you choose like what to react to? Like, do you look at trailers, or do you just kind of go with like your feeling or what you actually like to see, like for yourself, or what? What how's
I
that process?
I feel like I take all those things in consideration. Also, if it's tricky though because I do get a lot of recommendations sometimes, and there's only so much time for me to like
Mm-hmm.
sit down and react. Especially because I have Patreon, so I have things that I always do for Patreon only, and then I have everything that I do for YouTube, and sometimes obviously they interlap because I have to post early stuff on Patreon and then post it on YouTube or re-edit things. So it's always tricky. I know that there's a lot of popular stuff that a lot of people want me to watch, but I'm like, "Ugh," like I don't have the time. I don't have the
Right.
time, or even sometimes I even go and read reviews just to see what people think. Like no spoilers or anything, but like see what people feel of it. And if too many people are complaining, then I'm like, I'll stay off of it. I'll
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
not.
yeah.
I'll probably not watch it. I because I'm one of those people that I want to watch something that I know I'm gonna like, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, it does.
Um, and it's tricky, obviously, because some people are like, "Well, you should give it a try," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I want to enjoy things that I'm watching." So, and I've watched things obviously that I don't fully enjoy, and then I have to kind of tiptoe around the criticism. But yeah, so that's one of the things. Um, and then no, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, what I was gonna say is that it's always tricky because if I choose to watch something that I'm not too aware of it, or that I don't really know if I'm gonna enjoy, and I end up not enjoying it as much, then I kind of have to, depending on the fans, also, I have to
Mm-hmm.
kind of tiptoe around the criticism. Um, I try not to do that too much. Like if I have to criticize something, I obviously criticize it. Um, that's a lot
Yeah.
of that's going around, especially Kin Porsche right now. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of different things, different conversations that people are having. So it's always interesting. But yeah, so the trailer, and if it's like Earth Mix, for example, they have the new show that just coming out. Um, just because I love Earth Mix and I loved A Thousand Stars, I'm like, I don't know if the show is gonna be as good, obviously, but I'm gonna watch it anyway. Um,
Moonlight Chicken
no, I'm talking about Cupid's
or
Last
Cupid's?
Wish.
Oh yeah, I've actually
hmm
been watching it. It's been really good. I really enjoy
It's been
it.
it's been pretty good because I that was one of those where, because they released it early in Thailand, there was a lot
Yeah.
of conversation around it. So I was like, am I gonna
Yeah,
hate
yeah.
this? I feel like I'm gonna hate it based on what
Yeah,
people are
me
saying. And I ended up. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. So
yeah.
it's. I guess it
Yeah.
just depends. It's one of those things that like it's a fun show. Like it's just fun to watch and
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy. So yeah, it
Yeah.
just depends. For Patreon, for example, I just do polls and whatever people
Mhm.
decide, then I'll watch that. For YouTube, it's just a combination of everything, pretty much.
Okay. So you mentioned, actually you brought up a good point, because you mentioned, your fans and like, them giving you suggestions, and obviously, you have to toe a line, or you have to be, you may feel like you have to be careful about some of the things you say. Have you ever felt like a lot of pressure to just kind of hold back your opinions, or maybe not as be as honest about a show that you're watching because they're because they're fan favorites, or what have you? Like, how do you kind of navigate with that?
Well, the answer is yes. It's very difficult, and I do feel the pressure sometimes because um I mean, I say that because I do feel the pressure, but at the same time, I do comment anyway about the things that I dislike or that I'm not finding that I like in in my reactions. Um, because I'm actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm very introverted. I'm nothing like I am in my videos, or like in my online, like how I interact with people online. Um, but I feel like being on camera actually makes me more confident to actually speak out about those things. um for example, one of those things is Cutie Pie. Recently, the last few episodes have been kind of like meh for me, in
Uh-huh.
terms of the story, um but I mean, I'm still enjoying the some certain aspects of it, so I still react to it, and I give my criticism if I have to. But I do feel the pressure, especially because some of these shows or ships, I feel like it's mostly the ships, are
Mm-hmm.
very popular and the fans are very
Mm-hmm.
vocal. So if you say one little thing that somebody disagrees with, then you get dislikes and people commenting things. So
Yeah,
it depends.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, fans can get a little heated most of the time, but I find
Yeah.
that you actually, I don't know, like I'm not sure if this is purposeful, but you actually, I've never really seen you get into the fray like on Twitter or anything. Um, so
No.
I feel that you've mostly been able to kind of stay above any type of kind of like pushback.
Yeah.
Um, you know.
It's on purpose because I I don't want to be I don't want to get involved in any type of beef with anybody. Like, I'm on the internet just to have fun and have a
Mhm.
place to like share the things that I like with other people who also like the same things. And I don't see the point in like getting into arguments and stuff like that. Like, if it's something where it's like a big issue and a lot of people are commenting it, or sometimes, which I don't like, some people do this to me and they tag me in things, and I then feel the pressure to like have to comment because they tag a bunch of reactors, and then some reactors comment, so it kind of, I feel the pressure sometimes to do it. But um in that case, then sometimes I do speak up. Like recently with, I don't know if you have seen some of the Heartstopper
Yeah.
things with the creator of the comic,
Yeah, yeah.
the comments that they made and stuff like that. I I commented on that, and I kind of put in my opinion. And if
Mhm.
people agree with it, that's fine. If they don't, then that's fine too. Like, you can just comment and tell me if you don't agree with me, and that's fine. Um,
Mhm.
just little things like that that I feel like aren't too big that I feel like I can comment on, then I do it.
Right.
But if it's like shipping things or like fandoms, I try not to get involved.
Yeah, you're probably way smarter than I am about that.
Do you get into it? Do you get into it with the people online?
I try really hard not to. Because before I started YouTube and before I started my podcast, I was just a little bean on the internet on
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah, yeah.
Just kind of like, and nobody really paid attention to me. Um, but now I find that I can't always say everything that I want. Um, so that, yeah, because I remember I was joking around and I said something, but it was kind of like inappropriate, like
Hmm.
in a way, because we were talking about not me, and I was like, oh, it was like a very like kind of like off the cuff like comment about like comas, and so
Mm.
somebody like somebody was like, "Hey, that's not funny," and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I never meant to
Yeah.
offend anybody." And that was like the first time really that like I had to be like, "Oh crap!" Like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't just like, you have that like moment where you're like, "Oh
Yeah,
crap!
but
I can't just
it's
say what I
interesting
want
because
anymore."
yeah, it's interesting because sometimes like the thing about the internet also is that a lot of people, me included, especially if you have like online friends, you sometimes joke a lot sarcastically online, and then some people don't really know the type of jokes that you do with your friends, and so things can come off a certain way. Um so that's something that to take into consideration, but like I mean, as long as you apologize and it wasn't meant to cause harm. Yeah, so so like sometimes when you're on the internet and you have like certain friends that you interact with on the internet, um you have sort of like a sarcastic way of joking around with them on the internet, like a certain specific
Yeah,
way. And then things can come off a certain way for people who don't really get it or don't understand what you're trying to say. But I mean,
yeah,
as long as you like if somebody gets offended and you kind of can see their point of view, then I feel like it's fine, you know.
yeah, definitely. I've definitely yeah, because I definitely have a lot of like people that I'm like actually kind of like I would consider like as close as you can be to like your online Twitter friends, but that I
Yeah.
talk to like all the time, like on Twitter, and I interact with these people the most, and so like I sometimes get surprised when like one of my tweets like massively blows up, and I'm like, that was like, okay, okay, sure,
Right,
that's
right.
fine.
Like, ooh.
Like
Internet,
okay,
honestly, internet, especially Twitter fame is so scary to me. Like, if a tweet of mine even reaches a few hundred likes and a bunch of people start commenting, I start to panic and I can't look at it. Like, it's one of those things where like I'm so scared of what people are gonna say and what people are like, ooh, it's hard.
it is. I mean, it's very, really interesting because, like, if you were to ask me, like, I think, and I started my podcast like right after the pandemic. I started my podcast like towards the end of February or like around February of like 2021.
Okay.
So it's been about a year.
Hmm.
And so like, and I really didn't think about like a lot of things. I didn't think about, I was just honestly was like, I hit the record button and I was like, okay, well, hopefully like at least like 10 people listen to me. Oh, cool. You get that like,
Yeah.
you get the, and then, then all of a sudden it's like you say something and it just like blows up and it's kind of like, well, okay.
Yeah.
But you
And
just kind of take the good.
it's so
Uh-huh.
funny because you can say the littlest thing that literally has no like underlining meaning or anything, and then somebody tries to spin it into something else in your comments or something, and you're like, wait, what, did I mean to say
Yeah.
that? Like, I didn't mean it that way, or they're taking it the wrong way, you know.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Oh my god. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Like this is. I mean, so there's like I had tweeted something about a year ago. I don't even remember. Like it was like so long ago, and it was like buried in all my tweets. And somebody just retweeted me, or like just took my tweet and added it and like put it into like one of their talking points.
Oh,
But the only
okay.
reason I found out about it is because like one of my friends was like, "Oh hey, like this person used your tweet." I'm like, "What tweet?" Like I don't really I tweet so much and I didn't remember. And then I saw
Yeah.
it and I was like, and she was like using it to defend. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who she was trying to
Right,
defend. Like
right.
I don't want to get into that. And then she ended up, and then they ended up like after I said something, and I was just like, "You're using my tweet as your talking point for this thing." Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like I
Oh
was like,
God.
okay.
It's
Um,
oof. What it's literally my biggest fear is somebody just taking something from mine that I've posted or in one of my videos or something, and then making it go viral somewhere or on TikTok or somewhere. Like some of my followers have gotten like meme faces of me and started posting them on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I cringe, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I'm always scared that they'll start like taking things of mine and like flipping them or something. I'm like, oh God, please. I
Yeah.
couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a tricky like slope because I think like for content creators and for people that have kind of like willingly put themselves onto YouTube or TikTok or whatever, kind of have this like sense of like, okay, well, I'm prepared, but I'm also not prepared. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
it's like I was like, yeah, you're prepared for like a certain amount of criticisms, and yeah, you're prepared for like for any kind of like hate comments and stuff like that. But then it's like really like when you read them, or luckily for me, I'm still kind of starting out. I think I've been on YouTube for about maybe 3 months, so I'm fairly very new.
Yeah.
So I've been very lucky in the fact that most of my subscribers have been literally my followers that I Twitter to be my subscribers. Um, stable internet, please. At some point, stable internet. Can you hear me?
You are. There you are. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. You froze for a second. I was like,
Okay.
ugh.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I was saying, like, thankfully, so far my subscribers have been people that I've like literally begged on Twitter to like follow me,
Mhm.
like my friends, very supportive. So I haven't had too many like comments, that would be like, oh, well, that sucks, to get them.
Negative
But like, how
comments and
do
stuff.
you deal
Yeah.
with that? Like, how do you kind of like put it into perspective, like so it doesn't get overwhelming?
Oh, it's hard. It's That's one of the things that I like. I don't think I've ever talked about negative comments or anything like that, but it's so interesting because I my mental health isn't great. Um, even though I seem very cheery and stuff, like in my reactions and stuff, like if I do get a negative comment out of like 150 good comments, I literally cannot stop thinking about that negative comment. Like it's really bad. I've actually gone like days where I stopped recording reactions because of one negative comment. Um, and so yeah, I don't know. I kind of I feel like I have to process the negative comments. Maybe that's a good answer. Like I have to process them, and then after a couple days, I'm like, forget it. Everybody else has been great. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, and then I kind of get into the swing of things again. But like, it does drag me down a little bit sometimes when I get something. Um, I mean, it depends. Like if it's something like, oh, stop pausing or you're talking too much, then I don't care because like that's just part of the reaction. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's like something about something specific that I said, or um I don't know, something that's more specific to myself, um, then I'll kind of think about it longer. But yeah, I feel like it just takes me a little bit to kind of get rid of the negativity in my head about a comment, and then I'll be fine. So it depends.
Okay. It depends. Okay. Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's kind of like you have to navigate what's best for you, and how you're
Yeah.
able to kind of move forward, and just be like, I think people don't realize that there's people behind these screens, that are
Yeah.
just trying to live like their lives, and yeah, they do this YouTube thing, but they really, you're just a normal person, and so they
Yeah.
don't really think about that.
They don't.
You
Sometimes
know,
I leave. Sometimes I do get a little petty and I leave a negative comment. I leave I don't delete a negative comment, I should say. And what I do is that I respond kind of like in a sassy way if it's something that doesn't bother me too much. And then I just wait for everybody else to find the comment and also start piling up on the person.
oh, okay.
because I'm like, please, y'all, please back me up on this. Like, I hope I'm not the only
Okay,
one. And then
okay,
some people come in and they start, and I'm like, okay, whew, this makes me feel better.
okay. So you like you have your fans troll them. I get it. No, I get it.
A
I'm just
little
kidding. I'm
bit, or
kidding. I'm
not,
kidding.
or not troll, but like, respond
Yeah,
sternly.
yeah.
Yeah.
To respond sternly. That's a good one. I like that one.
Hmm.
So you're actually kind of a big deal. Because, and I say this because you actually got in. You actually got into interview some idols. I actually saw your interview with Drake.
Oh yes.
How did that happen? How did you reach out, or how did he reach out, or
Actually,
how did it like? Uh huh.
it was a little crazy because I reacted. So I really loved Bad Buddy, and so I think he released, no, not Bad Buddy. Actually, it was 1,000 Stars. He released two behind the scenes kind of vlogs for 1,000 Stars. Um, okay.
So
Um,
yes, go ahead.
So it was for 1,000 Stars. Actually, he released, I think, two vlogs, two like behind the scenes vlogs for 1,000 Stars.
Hmm.
When they were shooting and stuff. Um, and I reacted to them. I reacted to both vlogs on my channel, and I guess he saw that somebody reacted to his vlogs, and so he actually commented on my video. Um,
Oh
because
wow.
I made a comment in the reaction, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to interview Drake. And I just kind of jokingly said in the video, Drake, hit me up. Let's have an interview. And he commented in the video, he was like, let's do it. And so that's kind of how it happened. I was like, after that, I DM'd him on Instagram, and asked him if he actually wanted to do the interview. And then he said yes. It was a little bit of a process though, because he didn't go through his manager. He just kind of
Oh.
agreed. He kind of agreed to it. And so the day of the interview, um, I guess the manager was kind of panicking a little bit because it wasn't like an official thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so while he was doing the interview with me, he was kind of on the phone with his manager every few minutes. So it was just kind of funny. But yeah, that's basically how it happened.
Okay, wow. Yeah, no, I was like I saw that interview and I was like, that sounds so like so that seems like so much fun. Like, and you actually got to interview him. So
Yeah,
yeah, that must
it
have been
was
a very big
fun.
deal.
He serenaded me at the end with his guitar. Just saying. it
I saw
was
that.
it was really
I
it was
saw
really
that. I
fun.
was just like, yeah.
It was really fun. It was really sweet. And I've tried to interview other actors from GMMTV, but it's really hard to get in touch with these people. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but yeah, nobody ever responds to me.
I mean, hopefully it works out for the both of us. I know that I'm always like, trying to, because I'm just like, all right, let's go. But
Right?
yeah. I mean, getting interviews are hard, especially because, like, we don't. It's hard to get in touch
Yeah.
with them sometimes, which is understandable. They're,
Yeah.
but
I mean, they're busy. All these
okay,
actors are
so
busy.
yeah. So if you could choose, like, if you were able to, if you had like infinite amount of resources or infinite amount of like people at your like beck and call, who would you want to get to interview? Like, who would you really want to like sit down and have a chat with?
Oh. Oh God, there's so many people. Honestly, if I have to choose, I feel like it would either have to be Earth Mix, either one of them, or both, or Om Nanan, because I love them so much. Either one of them or both. Again, um, I don't know. I just love them so much, and I feel like it'd be fun. Or it could also be interesting to interview Joss. Um,
Yeah.
he speaks English, and also I have a lot of questions about Three Will Be Free that I want to ask him.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like he'd be a good one. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, we give you hey Joss, Earth Mix. If you go on Javi's channel, just ring him up. I mean, he's
Hmm.
here waiting for you guys.
I'm waiting, please.
Oh my god, too funny. Okay, so like let's just say, some little person is on YouTube and they're watching you and they're thinking, "Oh, I want to do this too. Like I want to have my own channel. I want like to be like internet famous." It's just not the but like
Uh-uh.
you know,
Not at all.
no, no. But they what would you say, like what lesson would you give someone who wants to start their own channel and who really is very serious about pursuing this?
I would say I've actually surprisingly, I don't know what it is, but I've gotten a lot of people reaching out to me about that actually in my DMs, just about, either they're already started and they're kind of asking for advice, or they don't even know what equipment to use or something. I would say use what you have. Just start with what you have, because for me, I just had this webcam that I'm using right now initially. Um, and that's how I started. Like the first few videos on my channel are kind of not great. It was basically just literally the this webcam and the audio from the webcam, which wasn't good. And the screen recording was also weird. It sounded weird, but that's basically how I just started. I would just say go for it with what you have. Um, put in the work as long as you have the time and you find it fun. Um, if you don't need to have a schedule, but I would recommend a schedule. If it's one video a week, that's fine. But have something consistent so that you can start growing, and then seeing that growth is going to motivate you into putting in more work into it. And then eventually, if you have the means, you can upgrade your mic if you want, or use your phone. What I did was actually, because the way I film is with my iPhone, and I use OBS, and that's literally OBS is free, and most people
Mhm.
have smartphones, so it's pretty easy to to start off.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, just use what you have at your disposal, and slowly things will grow as long as you're consistent and you have fun with what you're doing. Then you should be good.
So what does hobby do outside of BL? What are your hobbies? Like what do you do like when so this doesn't so like you have fun and it's like just for you?
Yeah. I I watch trashy television. Um, I are you there? Hello? Hello?
So you use your iPhone to record, I think you were mentioning, right? And like oh
Yes.
and so you were basically giving advice to people who want to start their own YouTube channels and their own reaction channels and may feel that they may not have all the equipment needed. And so you were just mentioning, how you started with your iPhone. I guess, are you still using your iPhone?
Yeah, I mean, I started with my webcam, then I switched to my iPhone, and I still use my iPhone. iPhone and OBS are my best friends. The only thing that I do indulge in, just because I have Patreon and that helps a lot, I pay for Premiere Pro so that it's just easier for me to edit and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just use the things that I have. I did buy a microphone, like a really good microphone. And actually, with my first few months of Patreon, I saved up that money and I bought me a pretty good computer because the old one was not good for recording and what I was doing. It was too much for it. So I did buy myself a computer. So that really helped with, you know, kind of like that's mostly for, uploading and stuff like that. It helps better. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that we were talking about like hobbies outside of BL. Do you have any hobbies? Do you like things that you like to do?
Oh, I did remember. Yeah, that's where we left off because I was saying that I watch trashy television.
Oh, okay.
Whenever I want to just turn off my brain and I don't want to analyze what I'm watching or what I'm doing, I just watch like the crappiest like dating shows on Netflix, and just live vicariously through the trashy people there. Um, I read. I used to love buying like books, physical books, but it's just too
Hmm.
much money. So I have like an online library card. So I go online and just check out books and read stuff like that on there. Um, I mean, that's pretty much it. My life is pretty boring. I don't really have much that I do outside of like, watching BL and stuff like that. So yeah.
So I know that that you've been just on your own channel and reacting. Have you ever been invited to react on other people's channels from other reactors? Are you guys, or is like reacting like a pretty like singular experience?
No, a lot of my reactor friends have like they react together, like Kent and the posse that they have over there, the Titos. They kind of have their own channels, but they invite each other a lot. Um, I used to go on their lives and stuff like that when they did lives. But we don't really do like reactions together, I don't think. Um, I did with Jay. I don't know if you know Jay. Um, when she kind of started out, I reacted to a few things with her, but I don't really react to things with other reactors much. But sometimes if they do invite me to like a live or something, then I join in. But yeah, it just depends.
I think having a live with you would be fun. Like, like you seem like it's like a fun person.
Listen, ooh, the thing about me is that if you get me in a live, I feel like I tend to go off and like reveal too much of myself. Um, that happened actually in one of the lives that they invited me on. It was just a few reactors and stuff like that, and yeah, I feel like whenever I do that, I feel like we're all best friends and I can just divulge anything with anybody. So I have to be careful.
You know what's so funny is that I've been trying to do lives too. Actually, I do lives every Saturday, but I focus them on playing Dream Daddy. I don't know if you ever heard of that game.
Oh yes, please. I think who did I see play that game?
Perth
I think
plays
I
it. Stuart Perth
Perth plays it.
from my engineer plays it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think he posted something about it. No, but I saw one of the big gamers years ago on
Oh.
YouTube play it, and that's how I found it. I think it was Markiplier, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Markiplier, and ugh, I just loved watching him play that. It was
Yeah,
great.
I've been trying to play it every Saturday. But I'm actually switching the days because Saturday is too filled up with BL.
Oh,
And so like
yeah.
I think Sunday. Well, I think I'm switching to Sunday, and plus, like, sometimes, as you've noticed, my Wi-Fi likes to play games
Yeah.
on whether or not it wants to let me stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like doing live streams. They're a different animal though, because like for me, because I'm not really. I don't want to say so I'm doing reactions, but they're very small. I haven't really reacted to any full series yet. I've
Okay.
mostly been reacting to like trailers and things of shows that are upcoming that I might
Hmm.
want to react to, like if once they do come out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so so it's not like I have like a huge like audience. I actually just started my YouTube video. My YouTube was actually a booktube channel, and it still is a booktube channel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I talk mostly about BL books, not necessarily just BL books, but about queer media. And I started off the channel doing my live readings of Heaven's Official Blessing. So
Isn't
yeah,
that they turned that into didn't they turn that into like an anime or
yeah,
something?
it's an anime. Yeah, it's really good if you haven't
I've
seen
had
it.
it I've had it recommended to me, and I
Yeah.
think I have it on my list to like react to on Patreon at some point. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, no, you should just watch it just for yourself because it's so good. Like it's
Okay.
so like the animation is so beautiful and just I just love it. Like it just I
It
just
sounds good. It sounds good.
yeah, yeah. And so I was doing that when I was starting out, and then actually the reason why I'm even doing reactions the way that I'm doing is because my friend Gap is coming out, and the Gap is like one of the first like major GLs for Thailand.
Mm.
Um, And so she's like, "You have to react to it." I'm like, "Okay." Not really thinking about it, just like, "All right, sure, I'll just do it for you
Right,
because
yeah.
you
I'll do
asked me to."
it.
Um, and so yeah, so I just did that, and I didn't know really like I don't think I'm very good at it, to be honest. Like I'm
Really? Why?
I don't. I think it's because I don't know because I'm not like It's like very. I don't get self conscious about it because I honestly I forget that you once you start your YouTube channel, it's like your self consciousness of that kind of just has to like go out the door because it's like it's just you,
Yeah.
you know. You kind of have to be confident in yourself, and but I think like with reactions, it's like so different because it's like you're expected to kind of put on a performance while you're watching a show versus like you just watching normally or maybe you do make big reactions when you're by yourself at home. I know I do because I'm an emotional person. like,
Yeah.
like I will I just go off sometimes
Yeah.
and I'm
The
watching
way
my
you
shows.
see, the way that I see it is like, because I used to think that way also, like I have to perform for the camera, but I've kind of switched the mindset to like the little things that I'm thinking in my head, I'll just say them out loud.
Yeah, yeah.
um that's kind of like the way that I see it now. Like I try, like that's some of the things that some people comment in my videos, that I find interesting because I feel like different reactors are for different people, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like different people like different reactors for different reasons. For me, I find that a lot of people for some reason go on my channel and they write down like, oh my gosh, I love watching reactions with you because I feel like I'm watching with a friend and you don't scream. And I'm like, okay, thank you. But sometimes like it just depends like what kind of reactor you like, because some people do like the reactors who scream and are like
Yeah.
very enthusiastic about something that they're watching. So I feel like it just depends. Like it just depends your personality. Like for me, I just there's sometimes when I'm watching back or I'm editing a reaction and I'm literally sitting there like watching something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I look so ugly just staring at the screen doing nothing.
Oh my god. Yeah, I know. Like
But I'm like, at the same time, like, it's fine. Like, you're just sitting there, like, I don't want to put on a performance either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just depends. I feel like you just have to find a balance of like things that you want to like react to, or if not, then just sit there and watch, like I do
Yeah.
sometimes.
I, I mean, because I recently did like a reaction to the checkout trailer because I knew that was gonna
Everybody's
drop,
recommending that to me. I have to
and
check it out.
and I knew that was gonna drop, and I knew that I wanted to react to it because I had been waiting for like months for that trailer to finally like drop. And so
Hmm.
I did, and so I reacted to it like right on that day. Like I didn't make it a live or anything. I just kind of like it dropped on Saturday. I waited for like the premiere to be over, and I was like, okay, let's hit record. I was
Hmm.
such a fucking mess.
Why? What happened?
I mean, nothing really happened, but I was just like, I was just like, I said, like, I try, like I said, like, I think we mentioned this, that I try really hard to, like, not protect my image necessarily, but to definitely not say certain things. And so I was, well, when I was, like, doing the reaction and it was just, like, happening, I was like, and I just was, like, dropping F bombs, and, like, just kind of like, no, being like how I would watch it if I was like just watching it, by myself.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and I think,
I found it's so interesting because I found that depending on what I'm reacting to, I have like a different, how do I describe it? Like I have a different mindset for different things that I'm reacting to. Like I think there was someone, I guess someone was subscribed to me on YouTube and they were watching specific videos of mine on YouTube. Like not everything, obviously. They were watching a specific set of reactions that I had.
mm-hmm.
And then I think they signed up. I think they signed up for my Patreon for like a different, completely different series. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, I've never heard you swear." And I swear a lot. Like I, depending on what you watch of mine, I, like you said, dropping f bombs and like saying crazy things. And so that person was like, "I've never heard you swear," and I'm like, "What have you been watching?" And then I realized that for specific things, I there's some things that I just don't, obviously I don't need to swear, or it's just something that's like, you know. And so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have like different kinds of mentalities for different things that I'm watching." And I kind of just let loose sometimes, but sometimes I'm more like, reserved. So I guess it depends.
Yeah, I think like when I was starting in the beginning, I was definitely a lot more reserved. I was just like, wasn't sure like what I could say or what I couldn't say or what I even. Now I kind of let loose a little bit. It just depends like on what I'm reacting to. Like if I'm doing a
Yeah.
trailer reaction, it definitely depends on the trailer. Um,
Yeah.
or what I'm talking about. Like if I'm recommending books, then I'm definitely a little bit more animated. If I'm reading, then obviously I stick to the script and I stick to the book and I don't really
Hmm.
deviate too much. So it is dependent on I think content,
Yeah.
about what you're like watching or what you're doing.
And
But
what the
I.
audience is
Mhm,
also, because I feel like
mhm.
for Heartstopper, um it was interesting because I reacted to Heartstopper and I put the uncut versions on Patreon, and somebody on Patreon they were like, "Oh my gosh, Javi, you haven't mentioned how hot Nick is." And I was like, "These are children. These are my children. These are my babies. I've read the comic, so to me in my head, I see these characters as like
Yeah, yeah,
young."
yeah.
So it never even occurred to me to think that Nick was like, I mean, he's cute, but like it was so funny to me because people see me thirst about all these other actors. And I'm like, yeah, but this is different. I don't know. It's like it's a different thing. So people were like, this is like a different reaction for you because you just think it's so cute and lovey-dovey. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what it is. I'm not thinking about anything else.
I mean,
It was
Heartstopper
funny.
especially is very like it was very cute. It was a very like cute coming of age story. Like
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think like once people, I don't know. I
Completely
feel like
different than Kin Porsche.
yo, yeah, Kim Porsche. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about Kim Porsche. Honestly, sometimes I'm just like,
It's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how these episodes coming up pan out. You know, we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, I think so. Let's see. What else haven't we talked about? I feel like we've talked about a lot of stuff. And it's definitely been a fun time. I hope you felt
Yes.
relaxed.
Oh yeah, I feel good. I love talking like this because I don't know. I feel like I don't get to do it that much in my own channel. I haven't done a live where I talk to like my audience, and since last year, it's been a long
um,
time. Not even
do people
last year,
ask you?
2020 it might have been. So I no, because when I was doing lives, it was like when I had like 1,000 subscribers.
Mm.
So
Oh,
I
now,
think,
yeah,
and
now
they're
that you're,
private. So I think
yeah.
that, yeah. So my audience now doesn't know that I used to do some lives. So I think that's why. But if I start doing them again, then I'm sure that everybody's gonna be like, when are you gonna do another live? And I'm gonna be like, I can't because I divulge too much information.
Like luckily, like you just need a game to like so that you can focus on playing the game and like and not talk too much about yourself.
I've wanted to get into gaming. I just don't know how to though. I'm so bad at that.
I mean, honestly, to be real, when I decided that when I was gonna do live streams, and I literally had like 20 people subscribe. I mean, I don't have a lot of subscribers now, but I had even less when I started. Um, and I was
Mhm.
just like, what's a game that's easy to play and that I don't really have to, that's not gonna take up a lot of bandwidth on my laptop. And I just
Right, right, right.
literally, and that it's still on theme for me. That's still on brands about LGBTQA or just like BL in general. And so I literally, that's why I literally picked Dream Daddy. And I had honestly wanted to play it for like the longest.
It's
And
a
so I
good
was,
one.
and so I was like, okay, well now I have a good excuse.
Yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah.
now I can have something to kind of like do that. And so yeah, it's really easy. It's not that
Does
huh?
and you live stream it, right? You live
Yeah, I
stream
do.
while you
I
play.
try to.
Oh, that's nerve-wracking for me. You see, that's the thing. Like I think I would rather like play it and record it and then edit it and upload it than being like live. I don't know. I just panic when that's with that stuff. Like
Um,
I don't know. Like what
I
if I
don't
say
know.
something?
I don't honestly don't think about it because like like I say, like I have such a small. I mean, not that I mind my audience. 'Cause I love my audience. Like my audience is loyal to me. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
the people that I talk to on my streams are the same people that I talk to in my GCs on Twitter.
Right, right, right. I saw some of your your like ranking tier
Oh
lists video. I saw the one, and I saw the full things,
oh
like
my god!
the full hour something
Thank
for
you.
I think it was
Yeah. Uh-huh.
the ship
Yeah. Yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
and then the shows, the series
Yeah.
ones that you did.
Yeah.
I watched both of those, and I think I watched them back to back. Like I was just relaxing over here, eating my dinner and watching the videos, and it was a lot of fun. So
Aw, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. Oh, I feel so like. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I mean, seriously, I mean, I don't want to make you feel all nervous or anything, but to me, you're a pretty big deal. So just to have you, like,
oh
enjoy
my
my comp.
gosh, it's so to me, it's so funny and strange. It's so it's so funny and strange when people like compliment me like that, or like they I don't know, to see me like as something at all on the internet, because like I even if I reply to a tweet, I get people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you replied," and I'm like, "Why wouldn't I?" I'm just like some random guy. I don't know. It's so interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think because you've reached a certain level of just, I don't know, it's like success or just certain level of like, just, success on YouTube and, you've reached
Yeah.
a lot of people. And so, you're a big deal to a lot of people. I don't know if you know this, but you are.
That makes me
um,
feel kind of good though. I'm not gonna lie.
it should. You worked really hard. You worked really hard to get here. And
Yeah.
that's what I also think a lot of people just don't know what it takes to kind of make this a job or kind of make this successful, and like the work that you have to put in to kind of to do it, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a lot.
yeah, so like what is a day like when you're recording, what does that look like? Like how many shows do you sit through, and like how long does it take you to edit and stuff like that?
Well, I think it depends. So obviously the weekends are the most busy because that's when all the BLs are airing. Um, so on it depends. Like on Friday, I react to whatever show is coming out that day. And I try to only do that just because I don't want to overwhelm myself because I know the weekend is especially Saturday. I have two that I'm reacting to right now. So and it was three before because I was reacting to F4 with my mom. So it was way too much work for me. Um, but so Friday I try to do one, and then on Saturday I try to do back to back Cutie Pie and Kin Porsche right now. Um, and I kind of just after I record those, I try to edit them. It takes me about 30 minutes to edit one episode. Because I don't sit there and try to watch the whole thing. I try to scroll. I'm like, I don't want to rewatch myself. Let me just scroll and see if I need to cut something or whatever. Um, and then I have to, so I edit those, and then depending on what it is, I have to upload them on Patreon, early access for my patrons. Um, and then I have to, for KinPorsche, I have to cut down for YouTube, and that's another thing. Upload that. Um, for GMM TV shows, obviously we need to send it to them for unblocking. Um, and I mean, that's pretty much it. If for regular videos that I do during the week, um, right now it's been kind of interesting because weekends are so busy that I during the week I'm like, "Ugh, I just want to rest. I don't want to think about recording."
Right.
So, but if I do like record stuff, then what I do is that I usually record really late, and by
Mm.
really late I mean like really early, like 2 in the morning.
Oh my god.
2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. The thing is that I'm used to staying up at night late. Um, in my apartment complex is really loud. There's so many kids, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
things. And so for me, recording at night is like perfect. So if I need to record, I do like 3 videos. Because that's usually what I upload in a day for YouTube because uh I think the algorithm, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you know this, but they only send out 3 notifications per day. YouTube does at least. Yeah, so I found that out and I was like, okay, then I'll just upload 3 videos per day if I need to upload
Okay.
videos.
I mean, there's
um, it's still a lot. Like
yeah.
I know some reactors who like post like maybe once a day or like, you know, a couple times a week or something like that. But um, when I feel the momentum and I feel like I can record a lot, then I try to record a lot. And then if I have anything for Patreon, then I'll do that. But it really depends. I don't have like a set schedule, like a set thing that I do. Um, just kind of whenever I feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's kind of like a non-answer, but whenever I feel like it, I sit down and record reactions. Apart from the weekend, yeah,
Okay. I mean, it's good to know, you know, like I don't know. For me, I need to have a schedule because I only have certain hours of the day to actually like
yeah.
sit and record something.
Hmm.
So usually that's during the week, and I mean, it's usually like one or depending on how long the video is. And then I also, have to edit. I edit the same day I make the video. Like I don't wait.
Me too. Yeah,
So like that's like another like maybe like but when I first started, I was taking an hour to edit my videos because I just didn't know actually how to edit. I just kind of taught myself. How do
Yeah,
you
me
do
too.
that?
Yeah.
So,
Or if it's like Premiere Pro, because I use Premiere Pro, it's
mhm.
that software is so complicated. So I had to look up how to cut, how to trim
I
on YouTube. It
use.
was a whole mess.
So, so how I basically taught myself how to even do YouTube at all was I actually did for the first month, or yeah, for the first 2 months or maybe the first month, I just really literally sat down and watched YouTube tutorial videos on how to YouTube, like on how to edit,
Same.
on how to get views, on how to do all those sorts of things, because it's like
Yeah.
no one really, I mean, especially if you don't have anyone in your sphere to kind of like, oh, this is what you do, then you kind of
Yeah.
need to do it yourself. And so um I would watch YouTubers who taught you how to YouTube, who like,
Exactly.
yeah, because
And
that's
there's a
how
lot. There's a
there
lot
is
of
a
those
lot.
kinds of content creators.
Yeah,
So
yeah, there is a lot, and so that
yeah.
helped me a lot in the beginning. And so I was taking about an hour to edit and to like really, and then at some point I was just like, it's very easy to get burned out, like if you're not careful.
Yeah.
It is extremely easy, but I found a little bit more of a balance now, but now it doesn't take me so long. But I also don't like editing. It's like the worst part because it's like it's just.
Oh,
I mean, I love like making videos and I love being like just kind of being here, but at the same time,
yeah.
like editing is such a process where it's just like, please don't just like where
Which
did
is
I?
why I scroll. I'm like, let me like I just and it's not even one of those things where like I hate like watching myself on camera or nothing, because I mean I've learned to like be okay with that. Like I don't care
Yeah,
anymore because
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
I have over 600 videos on YouTube. Like at this point,
yeah. You have a lot. Yeah,
whatever.
you have a lot. I think I
Um,
have like, let me see how many videos I have. I have not even half of that. I think I have like 50. I have 50 videos right now.
but that's pretty good because you started when you said 3 months.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty
been
good actually.
it's been about 3 months.
That's actually that's actually quite a lot. I'm not gonna lie. 50 is pretty good for 3 months. I mean, I have 600, but that's like at this point, what, 2.5 years, 2.5 years or something. So, and there's sometimes, like I said, where I do bursts of like, I'm gonna post three today, three tomorrow, you know, if I feel like that. But recently, it's just like I've slowed down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cause like in the beginning, I would be like, I mean, I still kind of keep the schedule, but like I usually record like on Monday, like I'll record a video. And I was doing it Monday, I would record a video, and then Thursday, I would record the video for Friday, and then I would live stream on Saturday. Like that's what I was doing. But I found that that wasn't very. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do those bursts. So if I can record all my
Mm-hmm.
videos in like a day, um, like typically a weekend, because like it's just easier that way. Like I don't have work like
Yeah.
during the week. Like it's like I can just like focus on that. So I've tried that. I'm trying to do like the schedule. Well, not the schedule, but like the videos. Like just record it all in one day and get it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you
And then
can.
just set them up. Yeah. Schedule them
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah. That's like actually gives
It's.
me a
I feel
lot.
like it's better that way because if I sit down, if I sit down and record like let's say 3 videos today, well, like I did yesterday, I recorded 3 videos yesterday, and I edited them and uploaded them right away. So those are the 3 videos that I uploaded. Was it this morning? The days are like meshing in my head. I have no idea, but I think it was this morning. I'm pretty sure. And then tonight I'm recording like I feel like 3 more videos. I did record something else for Patreon also. So I have like 2 or 3 days where I try to record a lot, and then I'll have them scheduled for like the week, or like if there's Patreon stuff, then I'll set it up for later. But then that's I try to do that for like 2 days straight, and then not have to do anything for like the rest of the days of the week until the weekend comes around, so that I can relax and just edit and just post.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I want to get there eventually when you know, when I stop my day job. But yeah, Kind of
You'll
like,
get there.
yeah, yeah.
You'll get there.
Okay, so let's do like let's ask some fun questions because I feel like I've been hitting you with some very like heavy topics, and so let's just have some fun now.
Okay.
If you could choose between, you have to make a choice, okay? This list no like
Okay.
halvesies. If you could
Okay.
choose between going on a date with Om or Nanon for a day, who would you choose?
Oh, oh God, this is very difficult because can I give an explanation? Okay. So the thing is that I feel like with he would want to go to the gym and like and make me exercise and I'm like ugh. I mean, I can go to the gym and watch him exercise, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like I've said this before. I feel like it's like my bias out of the two. Even though I love them both, but like I feel like he's like, he's more my type. But I feel like I would go on a date with Nano because he would do something that's like more of like what I like. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
okay.
he's into like he eats a lot. He's into Marvel. He's into movies. Like, I feel like he's more of like my thing. Although he plays soccer. Mm, I mean, I'll choose Nanon. I'll choose Nanon.
Okay,
But yeah.
okay, okay. Okay. So, trashy Lacorn or trashy American reality TV show like Meet the Kardashians um, or F4. Well, F4
Oh,
isn't really a Lacorn. I would consider it a Lacorn.
oh, I. Oh my gosh! Listen, when we watched F4, we got into so many arguments. Like, ooh, it was rough. I honestly, I'll choose American, like Western trashy TV, just because I can turn off my brain. Because if I'm watching a Lacorn, I still have to read subtitles and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I'll choose the Western stuff just because I can just turn off my brain and watch it. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. You have a chance to put me in the hot seat. What's something that you want to ask me? You have a question.
Ooh. Mm. Okay. Oh. I can't get too spicy though, or too like problematic. You see, this is the problem. My brain immediately wants to like get into it. Like,
I mean, I can get into it. I mean, it's fine. I don't.
oh God. Okay. And you don't have to explain if you don't want. Well, you can explain if you want to. People might go after you. Okay, favorite BL and least favorite BL.
Okay. This is actually not hard.
Okay. Okay.
My favorite BL is UWMA. If you know, I mean not, I mean you don't have to know this, but if you know me and my personality on Twitter and my
Well, I mean, from
Twitter.
your username, from your Twitter username, it's quite obvious.
It is quite obvious who my favorites
Mhm.
are and who my bias is. I don't play about that. It's on fluke. I think since like I started watching UWMA, they were like my favorites for like, and like people were like, but they're so quiet. I'm like, watch, you just watch.
You know what? You know what? What's crazy is that I don't talk about them a lot, and because I didn't react to it. That was like literally the first BL that I found and that I watched on
Mhm.
my own. So it doesn't really come up in conversation much, and I didn't react to it or anything. But I find myself every few months going back and watching reactions or clips to Until We Meet Again, and I honestly think that Dean Parm, I feel like they're like one of my comfort BL ships.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, there's just something so comforting about their relationship. I love.
Yeah, their relationship is very comforting to me. Just because when I was watching when
Hello,
I
you're
first
breaking
started,
up.
yeah. What are you gonna
Oh
do?
my god.
Um, yeah. So UWMA, I think, was like the first like BL I saw that didn't have a lot of like the negative tropes that BLs tended to have like in the beginning. To me, anyway. So I just kind of gravitated towards it because I felt like it was the first time I saw like some positive masculinity. Um,
Oh no.
real BL that I saw that didn't have any very toxic tropes, really. It was very much about positive masculinity and how, just because you're this alpha man, you get to cry and you get to be a human and you get to have and you get to have emotions.
Now
And
talking
so
about it makes me want to go back and watch it again.
I watch it.
Oh,
I kind of rewatch it a lot. Like it's like one of the
really?
things. Yeah, because I don't know. It was like one of it wasn't the first BL I saw, but it was like one of the ones where that really like resonated with me up until that point. Because
Yeah.
before I had seen like I didn't even like you. I wasn't even aware of BL. I mean, I did read yaoi when I was growing up, and so I kind of had a little experience with that. But then,
Hmm.
like, I had stopped reading it for a while, and so I had really just like not even paid attention at all
Yeah.
until I guess until the pandemic, or maybe I had seen it on Viki because I had a subscription to Viki to watch C dramas and watch K dramas already, and
Yeah.
so I just saw I just kept on seeing Trapped and pop
Ooh.
up, and I was just like, "What's this?" And so I
Hmm.
just clicked on it one day, just out like out of whim, and I was like, "Oh!" And I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Opened your whole world
Yeah,
into
I
a
just
new.
a whole, and I've apparently never looked back, and
Yeah.
I've even doubled down.
Right. Right.
um, yeah, that was like my first. Yeah, that was like UWMA was definitely and like On Fluke are definitely my jams in life.
I love
Um,
them. I love them.
I love them too. I try not to let despite the fact that I'm saying this now, I really do try not to let my biases show too much on the channel. To kind of
Yeah.
give everyone a fair shake. Um,
It's hard. If
it
you go on my
is.
channel, I react to everything I'm not on, anything Earth. It's hard not to know who like my biases are if you go on my channel. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just human nature. It's like there's certain people, there's certain things that you're gonna gravitate towards too, and that's
Yeah.
not necessarily a bad thing. But like, I always am conscious, or I try to be conscious of the fact that not everybody likes the things that I like personally.
Yeah.
So just to be a little bit more open minded and to like cover things that I normally maybe wouldn't cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, with my channel it's a little bit easier because it's like it's my content and I can and obviously I take like my suggestions for things, but it's mostly things that I want to react to, it's mostly things that I want to
Yeah.
talk to, versus like my podcast is more like BL news oriented and like more um, focused on like things that are happening around the BL community, so it's a little bit
Right.
more. I really can't be that biased on my
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Because that's
Because it's not really like a fan thing. It's more of
yeah.
like a community discussion thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um but I think a lot of people already know who my bias is, so I don't even try to hide it anymore. Like it's not
Yeah.
like it's not a thing that I can hide.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
there's
mean, I figured it out just by those two videos that I watched. It was really easy after that. I mean, and the
I
Twitter and the Twitter username, obviously.
yeah, yeah. I did that as an April Fool's joke because everybody was like one year everybody was like turning their like all like the people in the fandom were turning their profiles into Fluke. And so, like,
Oh,
and so I did it until I changed my Twitter handle, and I just never changed it
it's
back
stuck. It's stuck.
because it's stuck. Because I actually don't even know how to change it back. So, like,
It is what it is.
yeah, yeah. But my least favorite, I don't know if I have a least favorite. Um, I really don't think I do. I think I've pretty much seen. I don't know.
There's a lot of
I
crappy stuff out there.
Yeah, there is, I guess, but like
But
it's also kind of subjective because it's like I didn't think like I guess the one that people think is really bad, but I like secretly enjoy it because I don't know, I just do is what the duck. Every
I've heard of it, and but yeah, that's pretty much it. I just know that a lot of people hate
oh,
it, but that's it.
okay. I mean, I can't in good faith like recommend that to you because it's like not.
Okay.
It's like
Okay, good to know.
it's like not it's not anything anybody should watch really, but like be like it's enjoyable for some strange reason. Like I wouldn't.
I mean, some of these trashy BLs are like really good to just like sit down and just love like hate watch it or love hate watch it.
I don't see that's the thing. Like I
Because
don't.
it's like
Uh huh. Oh, go
no,
ahead,
I was just
honey.
gonna say like it's just like not really hate, but like it's not good, but like you still enjoy it. Like a guilty pleasure pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that. I don't have that many BLs that I would consider like my guilty pleasures. I guess like What the Duck would be one of them, but I also don't like go back to rewatch it. But like it's like one of those things that I really enjoyed at the time when I was watching it, and then I found out that people didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "You like that show?" I was just like, "Well, I was I not
Yeah.
supposed
Maybe.
Maybe I don't know, but I don't know. It's just like one of those things. It's just like you like what you like, and I try not to judge anybody too harshly about the things that they like. I think I've learned that lesson the hard way, um, where I would be very vocal about some of my opinions about the things that I find that can be toxic in the community.
Yeah.
Um, and that I've gotten some backlash on a whole lot, but just things that I've like noticed or things that I've talked about within the community that I felt are important. So I remember when I wasn't reacting. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I was just being on Twitter, and I was talking about Darn Type and
Mm-hmm.
how people generally love Tharn type, but I'm like, you realize, and I'm just going
That's
through,
always the one. That's always the one.
that you really can't talk about. But I just was like, because people were talking about it, and people were like, oh, it's so great. I was just like, but you like this, and this, right? Like, you realize that it's fundamentally like unhealthy, right? Like, we can talk about this way. No, we can't.
Yeah.
So, so it was like one of those things. It was like I learned very quickly that you don't. I don't know. Like okay. Yeah, so it was like during those times when Tharn Type came out, and I was just like talking about the discourse and just kind of like y'all realize that this is not what healthy looks like, right? Like you can enjoy it, like you can, but right? But like
That's
yeah,
the thing. That's the thing. I think there's like a there's like a line between knowing when something is like deeply problematic and still enjoying it because it's at the end of the day kind of like entertainment, but I feel like it's important to like make sure that you're aware that it's not healthy,
yeah. I
that
feel
what they're showing on screen, the relationship and stuff like that. There's a lot of problematic stuff about it, but yeah, some people don't see it that way, which is interesting.
yeah. So I learned that pretty quickly. But not a lot of people saw it that way. So I was just like,
Yeah.
okay. But it's fine. I think that for the most part, at least, like, I don't know, because I still don't really consider myself a public person, even though, like, even though I guess I am now or a bit more now. But I don't know. It's just one of those weird things where, like, you have to be careful, or like, I just can how do I put this? Mm,
Oh, you're cutting out again.
okay, I'll just wait. It's fine. I don't think. Can you hear me?
Yep, there you are. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it was just like one of those things where I was just like, okay. And I think it's just like one of those things when you watch the show and you or at least I feel like you should know the things that are like fiction. But I think a lot of people have a problem like distinguishing between like fiction and reality sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and like I think that's why I just kind of like. But then I just kind of was like, you know what? Like I'm just gonna let you do you like over there, like
Oh my gosh, but that argument really bothers me. The argument about like, well, it's fiction, so you shouldn't be taking
yeah,
it seriously. It bothers me because like fiction still reflects reality. Like
yeah,
you're still writing a story that has human beings in it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they have lives. Like it's something that and the thing is that I feel like a lot of young people watch BL and they kind of I don't know they learn a lot from it, and then I feel like
yeah,
they can get the wrong perspectives, the wrong you know life ideas
yeah,
from
yeah.
these problematic BLs if you're not
Yeah,
careful. So
yeah, I think
oh,
so too. I just can't stand the argument too. Like, oh, it's just fiction. I'm like, yeah, but that stuff happens in real life. Like, it's they have to get it from somewhere,
exactly,
and it's like, and you're teaching young people, um, that this is okay, and it's not. Like, there has to be like.
exactly,
And so people like get mad. They're like, "Oh, well, there shouldn't be trigger warnings on things." I'm like, "Yeah, no, there should be because you know why? Because people don't understand,
exactly.
and like BL
And
audiences,
my
yeah,
argument is always this, because I'm always having this conversation with my mother, and I'm always telling her like, I don't mind if you put something problematic in your show, because problematic stuff happens all the time in real life. The problem is how the show handles it. Like a lot of these BLs romanticize, or like, they don't really have consequences for things that happen that are problematic in the shows. So that's my issue. Like if you're gonna put something problematic in the show, make sure that you handle it properly and you
yeah,
handle
yeah,
it well, so that the audience is aware that it's problematic. But then some shows don't do that, and it's like, okay, well, yes,
yeah. And so then people like, and you bring it up, and people be like, "Oh, well, you're just gatekeeping," or "Oh, you're just being a moral police." I'm like,
right, right.
no, I'm not. I just am
Just,
trying
just think
to
whatever
just
you want, I guess.
yeah, it's just because at some point too, it's like because then I found that if you keep going, people are gonna keep going too.
And some of them start trolling, and they start
Yeah,
trolling you and replying with stuff that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It's
yeah, I've had that happen to me before too. Again, like I said,
ugh.
even before this, like before my YouTube channel, before anything, I was talking about. Do you remember the show The Shipper with like Shipper?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I watched it. I watched the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. I don't. Anyway, sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was during that, and it was like during like the last episode where Ohm's character, I was just like, you realize that like what that's okay, and so
Mm-hmm.
so and so and so I talked about it. Like I was just like, I don't think that's obviously not like, and I said something, and then I had this person who doesn't like, obviously they don't know me, but I had this person like on Twitter like just keep on tagging me about like how it's not what it is and all this stuff and like defending the show. I'm
You
like,
froze again.
okay, fine. You froze too. It's so funny that I was like, you realize that he's that this is incest because of who they are to each other.
Yeah.
and then and then they were like, no, it's not incest. Da, 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 da. I'm like, no, but it is. Like it
It
is
clearly
though.
is.
Like it clearly is.
They're
And this,
brothers. I mean,
it's not me. Like it's the show. Like it's what's.
exactly.
And they're like, no, it's not incest and all this, and they were just like going at it. I was just like, okay, you obviously don't know what incest means. Please look it up in the dictionary, so that way you know, like, if you're gonna troll me, or if you're going to like make arguments with me, make sure that you know the definition of words.
Right.
But like, also, this. So yeah, so my problem with the shipper was that, and I was just like, and I
I
was just
mean, when that
like,
happened, I was like, well, that's a choice. Because it's a choice. Like, they made that they wrote that down
yeah,
in the script.
yeah,
Somebody had to approve it.
yeah,
Probably multiple people.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. Mm.
So they made a choice, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's fine that they do, but then it's just that young people. I don't want to just say all young people because it's not just young people.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot majority of people. They just don't understand that yes, while it's fiction, um, people tend to not mimic per se, but they definitely do take lessons. Like even if you're
Exactly.
not teaching a moral story, like there's lessons that you're teaching them.
I mean, I learned so much. Like, I literally grew up on television. Like, I learned so much. I speak English because of watching American television, because my first language is Spanish. Like, that's the language that I learned first. So, like, young people are more.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so like so my thing is like sure, like you can have this like toxic pair, you can, do whatever, just have people face consequences for their actions because that
Exactly.
happens in real life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I know BL's like fantasy, but still, like you should at least have someone go to jail sometimes, or you should at least, or at least have something bad
Yeah.
happen to them, for karma's sake, just kind of like that kind of basic shit. And I feel like it
It's
passes
like it's
by.
like it actually trapped is a good example that I mean, the main character literally goes to jail at the end, like
Yeah. I
for
mean, I know
shooting
people
his
don't like
boyfriend. I
it.
mean,
I know people hate it and they want Tangy to be free out of prison, but like
but it
that's what
makes sense.
happens.
It makes sense.
It does make sense, if you
Oh
think about the
God.
story, it does make a
Yeah.
lot of sense. But yeah, so that's my.
What doesn't make sense
Mm.
is going to the store to buy salt. That doesn't make sense. Okay. Whoever decided on listen, I have some words for you.
I still
Oh
I still
Lord.
can't
Anyway,
rewatch
I
that at
digress.
all. I can't rewatch MODC for the life of me. I refuse. But yeah,
I
that's.
can rewatch it because I mean, it's really difficult to decide right now but at one point it was my number one BL.
Mm,
And I refused in my initial watch, I watched it by myself. I refused to watch the last episode because I had been spoiled. So I was like, okay, I love them too much for me to watch this last episode. I'm not gonna do
yeah.
it. But I started watching it with my mom, and she convinced me for us to watch the last episode. The pain that I felt in my heart, I
Yeah.
cannot even tell you. Like, it broke me. I was like, it still is one of my favorites, but yeah, I can't. I can only rewatch the earlier scenes. I can't
Yeah.
rewatch,
I cried for like an
the
hour when I
finale.
watched MODC. Like when I watched the last episode, I cried for like that whole hour that episode was on because I just couldn't help it. Like that's when there's like, I guess since I've just started, I'm not really a reactor yet because I don't know. I just started, like I said, I've just done a couple of
I
trailers.
mean, if you started, then you're a reactor already. As long as you started, then it's fine.
I did start. I did
You're
try.
part of the ranks already.
I'm part of the ranks. Okay. Good to know. So like now that I've started reacting and like about to really start, hopefully as soon as some of the BLs that I've been waiting for kind of happen, what would be your number one advice for me?
Oh, the number one advice. Mm, honestly, just I know it's cliche and kind of like, but like, just be yourself and just do it because you're having fun and react to the stuff that you want to react to. Like, it's gotten to the point like in the beginning to me for me it was like okay, people recommended a bunch of stuff and I felt like I had the pressure of like maybe I should react to this because people are requesting it and stuff like that, but at this point I'm like I'm just gonna watch stuff that I'm like interested in that I think that look good, like, so yeah, that's my advice. Just be yourself, just have fun with it and only do stuff that you want to do.
Okay. Well, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video, like Javi's channel, subscribe to his Patreon if you would like to do that. Subscribe to my Patreon if you would like to do that.
Yes, if you're coming from my channel, make sure you subscribe and leave likes and comments and support because there's a lot of cool content on here.
Thank you. Um, but, but I've had such a good time. I've had such a fun time, Javi. Maybe we could talk at some other time, or maybe do a collab at some point.
Of course, of course.
That would be fun. But I want to
I
thank
mean,
you
this is
all.
this is the longest interview I've ever done, so I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, I
It
will
was
see
a
you
lot of
all.
fun.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Javi, so much for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.